The Almanac of American Politics borrows Michaelese to describe this wonderful person. They say, gosh, golly gee, he's one doggone decent son of a gun. And Bob Michael is one doggone decent son of a gun.
That was Congressman Guy Vanderjagt, Republican from Michigan. But for this podcast, we don't care about that part. He was talking about House Republican leader Bob Michael, but we don't care about that part either. We don't even care that Congressman Guy Vanderjagt's tribute to Republican leader Bob Michael happened at an event on December 5th, 1989, and that other speakers included President George H.W. Bush. But here's what we do care about in this podcast, that mention of the Almanac of American Politics, because there are at least two things we can be sure happen in politics every 2 years: elections for Congress and the publication of a new and updated Almanac of American Politics. With a collection of best of mentions on C-SPAN, this episode of The Weekly marks the latest edition of a political reference icon. Well, it's another odd year in politics. And by odd year, we don't mean what's happening in politics. We mean the year itself. Every odd year, we get a new Almanac of American Politics. That's right. It's okay to get excited. The new Almanac of American Politics is out. First, let's explain what it is. Appearing on C-SPAN's Washington Journal on August 29, 2023, to discuss the latest issue for 2024, here's Almanac Chief Author Rich Cohen.
There's nothing quite like the Almanac in that we include profiles of all 535 members of Congress, with whom your viewers obviously are familiar, and profiles of the 50 governors, and profiles of the districts, 435 House districts, and the states. And the book is published every 2 years. We update profiles. We have profiles of new profiles when incoming members.
Ever since it was first published in November 1971, the Almanac has been cited by a who's who of Congress members and Congress pundits. At the beginning, you heard Congressman Guy Vanderjagt. Exactly 1 year earlier, December 5th, 1988, the Almanac was cited by Representative Henry Hyde, Republican of Illinois, talking about fellow Republican Congressman Duncan Hunter of California.
But as the Almanac of American Politics says about him, and it's something we'd all be proud to have said about ourselves, he is one young Republican whose fervor has made a difference in the House.
And the Almanac was used to describe Henry Hyde himself, June 7th, 2006. Here's Representative Steve Chabot, Republican of Ohio.
He's a leader who has won the undying respect of colleagues on both sides of the political aisle. He's known to be fair and respectful. He's a man of the utmost integrity, and he wields the gavel with grace and humor. The Almanac of American Politics has called him one of the most respected and intellectually honest members of the House.
Henry Hyde wasn't the only congressman to cite the Almanac when paying tribute to Bob Michael. From October 7th, 1993, here's Republican Texas Congressman Lamar Smith.
And the Almanac of American Politics says, quote, "He is a man of old-fashioned personal decency," end quote. Mr. Speaker, we will miss such a great leader, and we will miss such a great friend, Bob Michael.
Bob Michael himself cited the Almanac during a November 29, 1994 House floor salute to departing Democratic Speaker Tom Foley.
The Almanac of American Politics, writing of the Speaker, has this to say: as a Speaker, Foley retains the reputation for fairness and intellectual honesty that he has built up for 25 years. Well, I agree with that assessment, and I'm sure every member of this House does likewise.
Another Republican leader using the Almanac to say farewell to another Democrat, this time in the Senate. 1 week before he left the Senate to run for president, here's Bob Dole on June 4th, 1996, with a tribute to Howell Heflin.
As a member of the Judiciary Committee, Senator Heflin has become known in the words the Almanac of American Politics as, and I quote, "a careful lawyer who picks at the rules of law with a delicate touch of a watch repairman," end of quote. It took someone with that touch to successfully revise America's bankruptcy laws, as Senator Heflin did in 1994.
And another Senate mention, this time a Democrat talking about a Democrat. From March 26, 2003, Senate Democratic leader Tom Daschle remembering Pat Moynihan of New York on the day he died.
The Almanac of American Politics called him the nation's best thinker among politicians since Lincoln, and its best politician among thinkers since Jefferson.
You don't have to be in Congress to quote from the Almanac. From December 14th, 1993, here's a Secretary of State, Warren Christopher, introducing Indiana Democratic Congressman Lee Hamilton.
The year he was first elected was 1964, barely 2 years after the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was elected chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee earlier this year, 3 years after the Berlin Wall fell. Throughout all those dramatic changes from 1964 until 1993, Lee Hamilton has been a voice of reason and sound judgment. He is, as the Almanac of American Politics described him, one of the most respected members of the House and a real power on foreign policy issues.
The Almanac has been used to introduce future House speakers. Here's an introduction of Newt Gingrich before he addressed the Heritage Foundation on August 22, 1990.
The Almanac of American Politics has written that Gingrich played a major role in changing the content of the ideas that shape American politics.
And here's Paul Ryan being introduced to the Christian Science Monitor Breakfast on July 30th, 2014.
According to the Almanac of American Politics, while Representative Ryan worked on Capitol Hill as a legislative director for Sam Brownback, he also moonlighted as a waiter and fitness trainer.
Now, political pundits. Here is Mark Shields, October 31st, 1989, speaking at the American Stock Exchange.
On the back of the book, where the blurbs are for the volume contained therein, there is one that reads, "The Almanac of American Politics. With it, you'll learn to appreciate the unexpected, and in the process, you'll better understand the world around you." The Almanac of American Politics is indispensable for anyone who follows American politics. That's the testimonial of Bill Bradley, U.S. Senator.
On March 20th, 2012, C-SPAN showed Politico's coverage of the Illinois Republican primary. It included Joe Williams, then a Politico White House reporter, being interviewed by Politico's then chief White House correspondent, Mike Allen. Here's how the segment ended.
All right, Andy, can we get a tight shot of what we have on Joe Williams' desk here? Almanac of American Politics, open to the Illinois page, so a little cribbing here?
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, all right.
Just a tiny bit.
Okay.
You may not remember, but there used to be a second publication Congress junkies had to get, Politics in America, published by Congressional Quarterly. On January 3rd, 1989, speaking at the American University Campaign Management Institute, political expert Charlie Cook compared the two.
I like to read both. If I need to kind of bone up quickly, I like to read both because I think in the case of the Almanac of American Politics, it does a little bit better job, I think, of capturing what the politics are like of a district, while I think the Politics in America does a better job of capturing what that member is doing in Washington, what kind of job they're doing, what issues that they're more involved in.
Then Charlie Cook started writing for the Almanac, so let's let him get in a plug for buying the Almanac. Speaking on an election panel during another odd year, 2015.
I want to put in a plug real quickly. The brand new Almanac of American Politics just came out, and it's an amazing 2,084 pages, and it's sort of everything you ever needed to know. And I bought my first copy in 1972 when I was a senior in high school in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Finally, let's hear from Steny Hoyer. The longtime Democratic congressman from Maryland held a press conference on August 22, 1991. In this exchange with a reporter, he was both a member of Congress and a political pundit.
Related question, but asking you to put on your whip hat for a moment.
Excuse me?
Asking you to put on your whip hat for a moment.
Well, I wish I could put on my whip hat. You must have read the Almanac of American Politics who picked me as a winner, but I am chairman of the caucus still, so.
Over a decade later, Steny Hoyer did become Democratic whip, and then he became Democratic leader. Today, in his 22nd term, Steny Hoyer is the most senior Democrat in the House. He became a congressman 10 years after the Almanac first published. And now, our bonus clip. We'll give the last word to a C-SPAN caller, November 6, 1991. The caller to the morning program from Gainesville, Florida. And the guest on the show that morning, original Almanac author Michael Barone.
First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Barone for putting out the
Almanac of American Politics.
Well,
and I
thank you.
urge all the listeners, if they haven't done so, to get a copy. It's indispensable.
That's it for this episode of The Weekly. Now you can show your friends and family and the folks who watch you on TV how smart you are at politics. Read the Almanac of American Politics and search the C-SPAN video library. Thanks for listening and happy searching.